Once again, good morning, my dear students. In our previous class, we have already discussed about the respiratory system in humans or in living birds. Today, we are going to learn respiration in animals. It's lesson 3 from the chapter 4 and page number 37. Take your book and open at page 37. This is the picture of respiratory system in human body. We will discuss detail today. We breathe with the help of nose. What are the gases we get in and release outside during breathing? Plants and animals take oxygen from the atmosphere and release carbon dioxide. You already know it. This process continues throughout their life, but the process of taking oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide is different in plants and animals. Plants take oxygen through one type of pores in leaves called stomata, and gaseous changes occur during various different organs in lower and higher animals such as gills, lungs, etc. These organs that take part in respiratory process are collectively called respiratory system. Human respiratory system is composed of these organs, composed of some organs. They are nostril and nasal cavity. This is called nasal cavity. Nesopharynx, nesopharynx, pharynx are three types, and larynx and trachea, bronchus and lungs and diaphragm. Okay, these are the organs of respiratory system in animals or in human body. Okay, now we will see the process, the system of this respiratory system. Okay, this is nostril or nasal cavity, and nasal cavity is a triangular shaped cavity placed above the buccal cavity. It runs from nostril to pharynx, and a thin membrane separates the two from one another. It runs from nostril to pharynx. A thin membrane separates the two from one another. Its interior part is covered with hairs here, and the posterior part by the membrane. The process of taking air through nostril is called inhalation, and when air contains dust and germs, the hair and the membrane obstruct them here. Okay, and nesopharynx. Nesopharynx is the last portion of nasal cavity. Okay, the air enters the trachea through nesopharynx. This is trachea, and this is nesopharynx. And larynx. It is situated at the junction of pharynx and trachea. Larynx has sound producing cords called vocal cord. On the larynx hole, there is a lid. It covers the larynx during the intake of food so that food cannot enter the larynx. It opens again during inhalation. Trachea. Starting from larynx up to bronchus is trachea. Okay, it's trachea. Starting from larynx up to bronchus is trachea. Through this trachea, air enters into lungs. Now bronchus. The trachea divides into two bronchus from near the lungs and enter into the left and right lungs. They are called right and left bronchus, plural bronchi. After entering into the lungs, these branches again divide into innumerable branches. They are termed as bronchioles. The structure of a bronchus is like trachea. Okay, now lungs. There are two lungs on the two sides. There are two lungs on the two sides of the heart inside the chest cavity. Inside the chest cavity. It is soft like sponge. The right lung is a bit larger than the left one. Lungs are covered with two-fold membranes called pleura. In between pleural folds, some slimy substances are present, so it prevents friction with chest wall. Bronchus branches profusely on enter the lungs. These small bronchioles enter into ear cells or sacs. Each ear sac is made of epithelial cell. These cells are surrounded by capillary vessels. When air enters into these cells, they swell up like balloon and then automatically shrinks. Wall of air sacs and capillary vessels are so thin that air can pass through them easily. And now I will show you the diaphragm. Okay, it's a soft and small video for showing diaphragm. The muscular layer that separates abdominal cavity and chest cavity is diaphragm. It looks like an open umbrella. When diaphragm shrinks, it goes down and the area of chest cavity increases. When it expands, it goes up and the chest cavity shrinks. Breathing function is done due to expansion and contraction of the diaphragm. Okay, I think you have understood. Okay, this is the human respiratory system, and your homework will be draw a level diagram from the chart and describe the functions of lungs. Nevers, trachea, air sac, larynx, bronchioles, and bronchus. Draw this figure and describe the function of lungs. I think you all can do it. Okay, that's all for today's class, my dear students. Goodbye for today.